It's time to sit back and check out the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Covering the latest in wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. You are checking out the RCWR Show for this Monday night of February 12th, 2024. Hope the weekend is off. Actually, no, I wish the weekend was already here. Hopefully the work week, is off to a really good start for you guys. I cannot complain. Honestly, I have been busy for the past couple of days, including today, just getting crammed in a bunch of classwork, and I finally was able to catch a little bit of a breather as of a couple of hours ago. So it was nice to finally be able to, okay, I'm done for now, but I don't get to relax that long as there's going to be another wave of homework coming in just a little bit. Like, it's already there. I just need to go ahead and do it already. But yeah, hope you guys have been good. I think at this point, this is episode number 1078. And before I go any further, some of you guys may be noticing a little bit of lag that's going on. You may notice a little bit of buffering. Yes, I did reboot my computer before coming on live, literally. And it seems to be fluctuating right now. Hopefully, it'll fix itself out. It'll work itself out as we continue on with the show. Appreciate everybody's patience. Worst case scenario, if anything happens where the stream gets interrupted, I do have the show recording in the background. Not just the audio, but the webcast as well. And worst case scenario, if the stream gets interrupted for you guys, or live feed, I'll just upload the episode in its entirety as soon as humanly possible for you guys. All right? So, how did you all enjoy this week's WWE RAW Sound Off? Let me know what you thought about it. You can vote on X at the RCWR Show. We've also got the community tab open for you guys up on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click on the communities tab and cast your vote that way. I even tried opening it up to our Facebook audience as well. I know there's a little amount of those on Facebook that like to show some love over there. So I tossed a little bone over there as well. We'll talk about that later on during the show. Hey, before we go any further, I want to take this time out while we're talking about polling and everything. I want to take this time out to thank the many of you that took time out to let your voices be heard on the poll that we had put up last week. In case you all don't know exactly the poll I'm talking about, it's just a week ago, I put a poll out saying, for those of you who checked out the February 5th edition, that would have been last Monday, as mentioned, I'm playing with some new segments. The first one premiered titled, I've Got to Get This Off My Chest. Is this a regular segment you like to see continue? And I see that the vast majority of you guys said, hey, enjoyed it. More, please. So that is definitely something that is going to be put into rotation on the regular. To the point, do I have something that I can get off of my chest this go round and everything. Yeah, I do. What I don't know right now, though, I don't know if I have my graphic for it. I mean, let me see. Do I have my graphic for it? No, I don't think I have my yeah, I don't think I have my graphic for that bad boy, unfortunately. I tell you what, I'll talk about how I enjoyed some parts of the Super Bowl and all that, but it does tie into I've got to get this off my chest. How about we open it up that way, right? So I'm curious, how many of you guys did a little something Super Bowl weekend? I know usually in the Sanders household, Super Bowl weekend, it's usually a big deal. We usually go out of our way to get our eat on, get some really good food, some pizza, some wings, whatever, right? Usually Super Bowl weekend, there's some good food, but we switched it up this year because, as some of you guys know, health-wise, I'm not doing too good. My blood pressure has been through the freaking roof. It's not even funny. My doctor had to up my medication in regards to my medicine. I mean, I'm doing my part. I'm definitely getting in the exercise where I can, when I can. So I am slimming down a bit, but just my blood pressure, it is just through the roof. I got hypertension and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, my wife really concerned about that, and she just decided, okay, you know what? This is really the rude awakening that we need right here. We got to make sure that health-wise, not only are you staying and going in the right direction, but you know what? It's about time for me to join you on that path as well. So we've been doing a team effort, really starting off the new year and everything. And it was funny because we had friends and family left and right. Hey, what are you doing Super Bowl weekend? You should come on over and we're gonna have a nice little get together. It's gonna be da 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 da, and it's kind of like, ooh, that's some good eating. That's for damn sure. That's some good eating. But no, we're good. So we actually did it very, very smart, very conservative this year. But we still had watched the game. I gotta say, a very competitive game. I will definitely admit that. It was definitely a very competitive game. And I said to my wife straight up, I said, you know what? Heaven forbid this game goes into overtime. Because if this game goes into overtime, mark my words, we will be seeing the Kansas City Chiefs win this. And wifey's like, oh, I don't know about all of that. I'm like, no, trust me. Like, I've seen enough of this team to where if this goes into overtime, that is it. You can forget about it. And sure enough, that is exactly how things have played itself out. I tell you what, I personally felt that from a defensive standpoint, I thought that the 49ers, I thought they did an excellent job on defense. What I had significant issue with was with the defensive coordinator. Whoever the hell that guy's name is, y'all can tell me his name right now. Like 10 of y'all can type the name of the guy at the same time. I don't care. And the reason why I don't care is because you have enough Kansas City Chiefs footage that's out there that lets you know that when it comes to third and short, possibly a third and long, Patrick Mahomes, if push comes to shove, 9 times out of 10, he will take that ball for himself and he will try to do his best to pick up the necessary yardage, especially if it's a case where it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. He will freaking do it. There's enough footage of that, and I was quite taken back by the fact that a lot of times the defense, there was not enough pressure put on Mahomes. I saw some really good plays early on, first half of the game. I'm going, okay, this is great. Like, okay, you're doing it. You're doing it good and everything. I know there was some plays that even Shanahan didn't like. I know there was one, what was it, in the fourth quarter, He didn't like that look, and he's like, hey, no, 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 no. You know what's so funny about all of that, though, is if 49ers would have made that extra point kick, there wouldn't have even been a overtime when you really stop and think about it. And what's this I'm hearing about 49ers, basically Shanahan and crew, they were not even aware of exactly how the overtime rules work. I'm having a hard time. Surely somebody just put that out there just to be putting that out there because I'm having a hard time believing that one. But, it is what it is. But as soon as the game had went into overtime, I just glanced over at my wife and I said, watch. Sure enough, it was over. It took about, 25 minutes or whatever? It was over. And I tell you what, my blood pressure, it was through the roof. I said, man, let me something else, man. I had enough of this shit. Seriously, I've had enough. And I changed the channel and everything. Look, congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. It looks like they've got a interesting dynasty that's going on their hands. Yeah? I mean, you're looking at this and you're going, man, not since the Patriots, which was 20 years ago, has a football team gone back-to-back on Super Bowls. That is really hard to believe that 20 freaking years, back-to-back Super Bowls. So now we've got Patrick Mahomes and crew joining a very elite group of teams, group of franchises and everything. And if you're a fan of Andy Reid and you remember his tenure with the Philadelphia Eagles, you're definitely looking at that and all of that, and you're going, you know what? I can't help but be happy for Andy. There's a big part of me that wanted to see Shanahan and the crew get the job done, though. There was a big part of me that wanted to see them. I kind of felt that, okay, well, maybe this is their time, and not for nothing, but the Shanahans, close ties here to DC and everything. When Mike was the coach, and there's just that part of me that been seeing what Kyle Shanahan has been doing these past couple of seasons, and there's that part of me that was rooting for them and everything. Now, look, going forward, is Brock Purdy the answer? Based on what I saw from that game, I don't know. I really wish I knew because I've seen enough of the 49ers. I don't really know right now. I thought he played a really good, tight game for what it was worth. I thought he did pretty good, especially there in overtime. He was able to just pretty much go down the field, but pretty much the only thing they had to show for was a kick. I mean, that pretty much was it. But I thought Brock Purdy showed a lot of poise, a lot of confidence. Kyle Shanahan and crew put him in the best position possible during that Super Bowl. From the moment that you had the coin flip and 49ers won, and they had the right to defer or accept, and they accepted. I thought whatever jitterbugs he might have had, any cobwebs, any jitterbugs, I didn't see any. I know there's a lot of talk right now about Brock Purdy, but no, for me, based off what I saw, and I'm as neutral as it comes because I follow multiple NFL teams usually during the season. I thought that for what I saw off and on of Brock Purdy this NFL season, I saw enough to go, you know what? He's pretty good. He's pretty good in his respective position. There's some people saying, yo, I can take any other quarterback. I can take this one. I can take this quarterback, and we would have won it. And, against the Chiefs, I mean, a lot of people, it's easy to really talk that, talk a really good game and all that. But if you really, really been watching the Chiefs and just how they conduct themselves, not just on offense, but defense as well, you wouldn't have been able to just take any old body in there. Look at the last couple of times that Tom Brady had played against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Them things were tough as I don't know what, but that's just my overall thoughts about that. But congrats to the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I said, I love the game. I love the fact that it was competitive, to the point that, honestly, I didn't initially care about who was going to win. My whole thing was, can it just be competitive? Can it not be a blowout? And it was competitive. And the more and more that I was watching the game, the more and more I was really, okay, you know what? Let's see if the Shanahan's can get this. But, everything happens for a reason. Will 49ers get back there next year or whatever? I mean, they've got some really good pieces that's at play right now. I think they could use a little bit more help. I'm just not sure about their current defensive coordinator. I think maybe they need to possibly cut ties with him. That's just my personal opinion. I saw enough questionable plays for me that just made me go unacceptable. Like, just no, you should not. No, get out of here. Seriously, like, what are you doing? It's like, do you know who you're playing against? Like, seriously? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the off season. I felt that Usher, my man Usher, yeah. I thought Usher did a fantastic job doing the halftime show. I love the cameo appearances there by Alicia Keys. My God, has Alicia Keys always see, I got to pull Jerome from the Martin Lawrence TV show back in the day. Martin, shout out if you remember that series, but I gotta pull a Jerome, for a hot little bit. I say Jerome's in the house, in your mouth. I'm looking at Alicia Keys and I'm just going, wait a minute, let me stop right here. Junk in the trunk. How long you had all that treasure going on? I seriously, like, woo, Alicia Keys, like, all them lovely curves, them lovely lady homes. How long you been? Has that always been back there? I'm going, damn, right? Great cameo by her, though. Jermaine Dupri. My God, I'm not telling jokes. I'm not cracking. I'm being dead serious here. When I first saw Jermaine Dupri, my initial thought was, oh, they got CeeLo Green. And then the harder I'm looking at him and I'm really paying attention to the voice, I'm going, oh man, this is not CeeLo Green. This is Jermaine Dupri. At which I said out loud, man, I can't believe at one point this guy was actually dating Janet Jackson. It's true. Look it up if you don't believe me. But at one point he was dating Janet Jackson. Like, it's so funny considering, like, okay, because those of us that remember Jermaine Dupri back in the day, we're going, he was a skinny little dude, had these nice long braids, cornrows and all that going on. He looked like a straight up G, looked like a straight up thug back in the day. And now he just looks like this. He just looks like CeeLo Green. Seriously, just like, you wouldn't know that was right, not unless you've been following him like that. Who else was there? I know the rapper's face. I just can't picture his. Yeah, I can't picture his name right now, but he was there. Of course, you got to have him there. Usher did good though. I know there were some people that had took to social media and they were a little bit irritated with Usher. Some men actually felt a little bit uncomfortable by the fact that Usher, good-looking guy and everything is there, and they're like, oh, man, because, we know typically when it comes to us guys that know about the music of Usher, we know that a lot of the music that Usher puts out there, it's basically for the women. And I put out a post. I kept it simple. I said, and I really meant this because the way I looked at Usher and all the little songs he was putting out there, and I'm sure there were many women in front of their TV sets right alongside their spouses and everything. I'm sure there were a lot of them that were singing along and and all of that. And I can just imagine the amount of guys that were feeling uncomfortable and all that. But I looked at it no differently than women attending a Teddy Pendergrass concert. Basically, Teddy was getting the ladies ready for us fellas for that night. For that night of festivities, if you catch my drift. Now, some men might have been upset with Usher because, oh man, honey's going to want some after the game is over, and I really don't want to, I want to kick back afterwards, and I want to watch some of the sports show highlights, and I want to, right? I could just picture that, that's going on and everything, and it's like, okay, you may be able to dodge a bullet Sunday night going into Monday because everybody's got to go back to work and school, but one way or another, your spot's going to have that ass because Valentine's Day week is here, right? So, I know it's on a Wednesday, but even if you can't do anything that Valentine's Day, your significant other is going to be expecting some stuff to go down that respected weekend. So, yeah, last thing you want to do is end up in the doghouse and everything. But I thought Usher did a really good job. I actually polled you guys on X asking, what did you think about the job that Usher did? And I think at this point, we've got the final tally right now. Let me just pull this up real quick. I haven't really been active today on X because I've mostly been checking out, mostly been catching up on some homework and everything. So I gave you guys 4 options. I'm seeing a tie at 13%. Half of you said it was, this is in regards to Usher's halftime performance. Half of you said it was an average show. Other half of you said not too shabby. 19% of you actually thought it was terrible. Meanwhile, top dog, 55% of you felt Usher did great. Appreciate you guys that have voted. Now, something that I want to get off my chest. We got the graphic now. Here you go. Here we go right here. I need to get this off my chest, okay? This is in regards to the Super Bowl, all right? So, like many of you, I'm watching the game. And what used to be one of my favorite times during the Super Bowl was the Super Bowl ads. Because nothing was more cool than either returning to work the very next day, being in the break room and, hey man, what'd you think about the game? Hey, how about those commercials? Used to be a major talking point back when I worked in market research. Because we used to work with advertisers all the time and put focus groups together, asking folks, okay, like sometimes we would do focus group studies for Snapple. Sometimes we do some stuff for the Coca-Cola company. Sometimes we would do some stuff for McDonald's. I mean, you name it. We do all kinds of really cool stuff back in the day. And so nothing was really more cooler than the very next day after the Super Bowl, being in the break room or just talking amongst coworkers, supervisors, managers, even the presidents would chime in on what they thought about certain commercials and all that, right? But it just seems like we've had this trend within the last, I would say, 3 to 4 years where the commercials during Super Bowl weekend, it's just, nothing really to write home about, nothing to really go. So the ones that stood out to me this year, I got to give it up for the Christopher Walken BMW commercial, right? Why settle for the imitation when you got the real deal, basically? I love the gist of that. I thought marketing-wise, just everything, the way it was executed, thought that was a brilliant ad. I enjoyed the trailers. I know one was a teaser for Deadpool and Wolverine, but I enjoyed that. Honestly, I've seen a couple of still shots floating around on social media. I've done a pretty good job staying away from all things related Deadpool, Wolverine. That I'm getting to a point now where it's, I just, even if a full trailer becomes available, I don't want to see it. Just let me know when the date is for the theatrical release. I will go see it. Honestly, I will go see it. No bull. I will go see it. I'm a big fan of Hugh Jackman. I love what Ryan Reynolds has done with the Deadpool character and all that. I know that's one of those films slash franchises where I go, I got nothing to worry about. I know I'm going to have a good time. I enjoyed the hell out of the first two Deadpools. So you're telling me there's not only going to be another Deadpool movie, but Hugh Jackman is coming back as Wolverine. I go, all right, I'll see you at the theaters, right? Enough said. I did enjoy seeing the trailer for Planet of the Apes. I don't know the exact name for that sequel, but I did enjoy seeing that. That looked pretty badass. But beyond that, everything was just, right? Right down to the point. Let me see if I got this straight. So we had got not one, but this is going to get real controversial right here. And this is where I really need to get this off my chest. So let me see if I got this straight. We had not one, but two Jesus ads that came on. Now, first of all, do you guys even know how much money was spent on Super Bowl ads this year? Because, I mean, it just keeps going up and up and up. And if I'm not mistaken, this year was just freaking ridiculous. But, like, if you wanted an ad slot, during the Super Bowl, Sunday, a 30-second commercial had cost you about $7 million. If it went a little bit longer than that, obviously you're looking at double, right? You're looking at a little bit close to $15 million, okay? So anywhere between $7 to $15 million. And we got two Jesus commercials that aired during the Super Bowl. Now, I don't know about you. Hear me out. I can just picture some of you guys just sharpening the knives, getting it ready, and you're like, you're ready to just spew some venom my way, but just hear me out. I don't know how you all like to operate, but me personally, if somebody is practicing religion, I don't care if it's Judaism, Buddhism, I don't care if they pray to Jesus Christ, I don't care if they pray to Allah, whatever religion they are into, I respect that. My whole thing is, don't try to force that upon me and those I love and care about. That, don't force your religion onto others. Don't do that. It's one thing if, hey, doing this thing at the church, you should come. Oh yeah, sure, okay, all right, cool, yeah, I'll attend. When is it, right? That's one thing, right? But like, if you just don't know, right? Just imagine you're at a party, a Super Bowl party, and that Jesus ad came on. And whoever is deep into religion, they may say X, Y, Z, and certain things don't mix at parties. Certain things don't mix among gatherings with friends and family. Politics and religion. So I can only imagine how many Americans that don't practice any religion whatsoever felt uncomfortable looking at those Jesus ads. Okay? Last thing I'm trying to see is somebody get force-fed religion down their throat, especially when they have not gone out of their way to seek it, right? And then the other thing that really bothered me, and it's nice to see that there are great minds out there that think alike on this, which is, so let's see if we got this straight. So it's about $7 million to $15 million for a Super Bowl spot. And we've got two Jesus ads. All I'm saying, that money would have been better off, I don't know, feeding a whole bunch of homeless people. That money would have been better off. I don't know. Maybe, there's a daycare center that is in Anacostia, D.C. Now, luckily, nobody got hurt, because everybody got out in time. But there was an explosion. And that thing is like in ruins. It's gonna take like at least anywhere from 8 to 9 months of renovations and all of that before the original tenants can even move back in there again and continue to operate their daycare center. Meanwhile, they're at a temporary spot still in the Anacostia neighborhood, but they're at a different spot. But for the renovations alone, that's going to take at least 9 months to get it up and running again. I don't know, maybe kick in some of that money towards, or maybe you could donate that money to the Meals on Wheels program. There are a lot of disabled elderly people that they're not sure where their next meal is going to be coming from because they basically have to choose between their medicine or do I pay my utilities? Do I make sure that I continue to have gas? Do I make sure that I still have electricity? Right? There are some people that are still, because they're living off of their Social Security, and for some, they're only getting but so much. And okay, once they've paid the rent or whatever, there's really nothing else they have left over, per se, and everything. So I'm just saying that money would have been well better spent. Or how about what's going on overseas? I mean, that's an entirely different subject, right? But if there was ever a time to show that, hey, we are with our brothers and sisters overseas, everything that's going on, with that mess of a war that's happening, we're definitely with them. There's just a whole lot of really good things that could have been done with that money rather than, oh, we're going to drop $7 to $15 million on some freaking ad spots. It's nice to see that there were a decent amount of people. There were even some, I'll tell you this, and we'll move on. I even had some friends who I know that do practice religion reached out to me privately. After I asked them, of course. I put them on the spot, but, I say, look, I won't mention your name or anything like that, but just, I'm curious. And even they felt uncomfortable seeing those ads. They thought that visually, a very powerful message, that was sent and everything, but otherwise, considering how much those spots are, they weren't really fans of that. So, it just really puts a highlight when you really stop and think about it as far as, just where we are right now with our ads on these Super Bowl weekends. It's not what it used to be. And I'm not just saying that because of, the rant that I just went on about the Jesus ads, but just no, in general, the quality of these ads, it's really, really diminished. It's kind of interesting how the whole commercials just morphed into this whole trend of its own, because that really started about, I would say, 5 to 7 years ago. What commercials are gonna, and I remember I used to poll you guys, like, we just did a latest poll where it was like, okay, are you going to be watching for the game, or are you going to be watching for the commercials and everything? And, it can be a bit divided depending on who you're asking and everything, but it seems like we're now getting to a point where, there's not even remotely fun creativity being put into these ads on Super Bowl weekend. Although I gotta give props to the Dunkin' Donuts commercial. Besides the Christopher Walken BMW joint, I love the hell out of the Dunkin' Donuts joint with Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. I thought that was freaking brilliant and everything. I saw an interesting proposal put out there in regards to the Super Bowl. The idea of, do you think it's possible that the Super Bowl will move to a Saturday? Because after all, so many Americans, when it comes to Monday, they call out of work the next day, which obviously looks really, really bad. So, the idea of, well, why not have the Super Bowl on a Saturday? Let me hear from you guys. Let me know what you think about that idea. Super Bowl on a Saturday night, or if it should continue to stay right where it is on Sunday. Most curious what you guys have to say about that. But that is my rant this week. Something something I wanted to get off of my chest there. And wow. And shout out to Rob Wilkins of Fightful, who says that the Super Bowl hit a massive 123.4 million viewer rating. Jesus, that is, no pun intended, that's a damn good number. Now, see, I can't help but wonder, was it the power of the Swifties? Was that the power of the Swifties, or was that like all things as far as pulp culture, the way everything just collided there in that one night? Because she had a really great mix of genres mixed in there. But some good stuff, I hope you enjoyed all that talk for what it's worth, because wrestling news-wise, not really that much for us to get into. So I do plan on having a bit of a short show for tonight when it's all said and done. Because remember, I'm not going to be on the air with you guys this Wednesday. I'm actually taking Valentine's Day to enjoy that quality time with the misses and everything. And once again, if you're tuning in live, if you're noticing a little bit of lagging that's going on, something's going on with the internet. It's fluctuating. I did reboot my computer before. Worst case scenario, if the stream gets interrupted, just know that I have the show recording in the background, and I'll upload it at a later date. Definitely way before Wednesday and everything. So I asked you guys, what did you think about this week's WWE RAW? And we can take a look at the polling right now, as I am seeing. Let's go to X first. I am seeing that there are, we got a tie at 8%. Thumbs down, staying in the middle. Meanwhile, 83% of you are giving the show a thumbs up, right? Meanwhile, on YouTube, let's see how that is looking. I got to try to refresh YouTube there. Hang on. I thought I posted it on YouTube. I didn't do it in time? No. I thought I posted on YouTube. It doesn't look like I did. But let me refresh just to make sure, because I thought I did. But if I did not, then my bad. But we'll just stick to the poll on X. Yeah. Sorry guys, I did not post on YouTube. That's all right. We'll get you guys next go around. I thought the show this week was fairly decent for what it was worth. We got a little bit more of a build up for the Elimination Chamber card. Remember, that's going to be going down. What is that, next Saturday? I'm very excited for that. I believe that's going to be a evening pay-per-view as well. Let me just double check that, because for those of you, right, I know how some of you guys are. Yeah, what's going on with that chamber? That should be a evening card, but let me hang on here. I'm going to check right now for you guys, just to see what is going on there. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, guys. It looks like Elimination Chamber, that's going to be starting. Ugh. Are you guys ready for this? So, Elimination Chamber. WWE has not promoted the times yet. I see why. They really need to, though, like ASAP. So, apparently, that pay-per-view is going to be streaming live February 24th, beginning at 5 a.m. Eastern. You heard me right, USA residents. 5 a.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. Pacific. Oh, man. That is going to be... Oof. 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 That's all I got to say. Oof. You know what? Man, that's going to be interesting because Fridays, I usually am covering AEW Rampage on the 411 Mania site. And then once I'm done with the live coverage, I typically have to go back. I got to do some proofreading, add in some additional thoughts for my overall review. And so that, when it's all said and done, that usually takes me up to, if I'm on point and I'm on top of it like that, that'll usually take me up to about 11:30 p.m. Because remember, Rampage comes on at 10, goes off at 11. I'm doing my editing, proofreading, all that. 11:30, I'm done. So that would mean I would have to, like take some melatonin or something and immediately go right to sleep so I can wake up at least 15 minutes before, then start watching the premium live event. So I would imagine 5 a.m. They're probably gonna go until maybe 9 in the morning, give or take. No way it's gonna be anywhere close to 10 a.m. So I would imagine it's gonna go until about 9 a.m. I mean, that sounds about right. Oof, man. That is just odd timing. I mean, this is like some New Japan Pro Wrestling stuff. And look, I'm not complaining because I know that our friends overseas, particularly in the UK, Canada for sure, some parts of Canada, but definitely in the UK, I know our friends, and definitely those in Australia, I know they've got, they got to make these weird accommodations to try to watch the premium live events when they come on at 7, 8 o'clock Eastern here in the States. So I hear it all the time, usually from longtime listeners that's overseas. They'll come in, they'll represent, check out the post show, and they're like, hey, they'll be like, hey, it's 8 a.m. over here. I'm checking out your post show, and it's like, Jesus, go to sleep, dude. Appreciate you and everything, but take your ass to sleep. Much love and everything. So mark that down on your calendars because I don't want you guys to forget. If you want to watch WWE Elimination Chamber live, it'll be streaming Saturday, February 24th, beginning at 5 a.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. Pacific. Now, look, for those of you that happen to, I don't have to worry about work. I'll actually be off that day, and you know what, Lee? I don't want to wake up at that time just to watch a damn premium live event. I hear you. Guess what? Sleep in. When you wake up for the day that Saturday, it'll be available on demand. You'll be ready to go, and then you can do your little fast forward in and all that other good stuff. But tonight's Raw, they did pretty good in developing a little bit more of the card going into Elimination Chamber. We got a couple of matches that's been announced and everything, which we'll get into in a hot little bit and everything. I like how we are continuing this journey of Sami Zayn and his quest to be taken more seriously as a title contender, as a main eventer. And everything, and this guy has basically made, it's like he's almost on a presidential campaign that, like, yo, I should be a WWE champion. And it's so interesting seeing what's currently going on with the Sami Zayn character and everything, because you would think with everything that's going on that maybe we would see a situation occur where somehow Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, their paths cross, and maybe, okay, it's going to be. But, and look, it's still early. We're like over 50 days away from WrestleMania. Anything can happen, right? Anything can happen. But in the meantime, we've got Drew McIntyre back into the mix of the whole thing. I love how Shinsuke Nakamura was interjected into the crosshairs of Sami Zayn. That was brilliant how WWE had pulled that off tonight as Sami was being interviewed. Very similar to the footage that they showed from last Monday's Raw, where he's up in the stands and he's being spoken to, and then all of a sudden Nakamura hijacks the Titantrons to deliver this message, basically saying, hey, I see right through your disguise. You play it so well, trying to be the sympathetic character, but really, we know what the real deal is. You're just trying to put the spotlight on yourself and everything. Like, see right through you. It was a badass message, as Nakamura was saying to Sami, look, you've already had all the glory. You've already had all the moments. Dude, you're acting like you're in this purgatory state of misery. You just want the people to continue to be sympathetic towards you. You're no different than Cody Rhodes. And Nakamura follows up saying he wants to see the true Sami Zayn tonight, one-on-one, and that if he doesn't let his real emotions out, Nakamura won't tolerate it, but he's pretty much is going to extinguish his soul and everything. It was really badass the way it went back and forth between... really, Sami was just sitting there hearing all the words of Nakamura. Loved it. Great presentation, all of that. Loved how all that was pulled off. Sami getting ready for this main event match. He bumps into Drew McIntyre, tells me straight up, you're in my way. Drew moves to the side reluctantly so Sami could go do his match against Nakamura. That was a solid main event match for the night. I will definitely give it that. Nice, fresh up. I know that there was a decent amount of people that... And look, me personally, I don't mind long-term storytelling, feuds and all that. But I know some people are like, I'm tired of Cody and Nakamura. Me personally, I can't get enough of it. You could do 3 more months of that. I'm totally down for it, right? But I know a lot of you guys definitely appreciate it. Okay, Nakamura, Sami Zayn. Okay, this is fresh. Let's see what continues to develop right here and everything. Nakamura picking up the win as Drew McIntyre had ran a little bit of distraction that pretty much helped out Nakamura connect with the Kinshasa back of the head, picking up the win that way. I think what really hurt this match the most, given what all we were able to see, the commercials did not help. I mean, this was a really good main event when it was all said and done, but I believe there was maybe 2 commercial breaks that was taken during this. But, still, regardless of that, pretty damn good. It was pretty decent match what these 2 guys had and everything. We probably could have gone without the Drew McIntyre interference, though. But, it is what it is. Post-match, Drew McIntyre entering the ring, beating the holy hell out of Sami. Nakamura getting in there as well. Who comes out there for the save? Well, it's none other than Cody Rhodes. Cody takes out Nakamura, goes right for Drew McIntyre. Cody hitting the Cody Cutter on Drew. Cody coming right back with the crossroads on Nakamura. Some really good stuff right there. They pretty much hopped on that note. They bounced, Nakamura and Drew McIntyre. So they bounced on that note. So, kind of safe to say that on the way to the Chamber match, looks like the way things are going to go down, maybe we're going to see all 4 of these men. If not at Chamber, maybe we're going to see all 4 of these guys fight in the main event of next Monday's WWE RAW. But nice 20-minute main event match between Nakamura, McIntyre. Not McIntyre, I apologize, guys. I'm thinking about his interference there. It was a nice 20-minute match between Nakamura and Zayn. And what I was trying to say, reason why I kept thinking about McIntyre, could have really done without the McIntyre interference. By the way, I love that McIntyre is still pushing the CM Punk shirt. on top of the constant verbal digs at Punk. I love it. I freaking love it. I'm just eating that up. By the way, I hope you guys have managed to get in your pre-orders, because I'm trying to think if we had talked about it on the show last week, and I don't know if we did or not. So if this sounds familiar to you guys, apologies in advance, but there is a company that had hooked up with CM Punk to loan his name and likeliness, and also Larry the Dog. And it's really, really badass. I'm actually looking at it right now. Zombie Sailor Toys. That's the name of the company. They've hooked up with CM Punk, and they're going to be producing a CM Punk Heels and Faces retro figure along with Larry the Dog. This is not going to be sold individually. It's a pack. And this is basically going to be a made-to-order collectible, and it'll be available immediately, 2 weeks. And that basically they'll never offer it again. So if you guys are interested, all you got to do is head on over to zombiesailor.com, and you'll be able to find it that way. And it's pretty badass. I got to say, as far as the points of articulation goes on the CM Punk figure, I'm literally looking at it right now, and Larry the Dog, it looks pretty badass. It really does. It looks pretty badass. If you're a Punk fan and all that, I can definitely see a lot of you guys picking this up. So it's going to set you back $40. You heard me right? It's going to set you back $40. But man, it's pretty badass. You can't, I'm telling you, once you go out of your way, you check out the link and all that, and you see what I'm talking about, you're like, wow, that's actually pretty damn good. You're definitely going to scoop it up. You're definitely going to scoop it up. I'm probably going to pick up 2. Just to be perfectly honest with you guys. I'm most likely going to pick up 2 sets. I'll probably pick up one for myself, and then I'll probably pick up another one maybe as a giveaway for somebody. Who knows? But yeah, check that out when you guys get a chance. I was thinking about CM Punk just now because I like the fact that Drew McIntyre is still pushing his burial shirt there of CM Punk. Love it. Just good stuff right there. Men's Elimination Chamber qualifier match. Great match between LA Knight and Ivar. Now, there's a guy that I'm surprised that as far as most improved male wrestler, I'm really surprised that a lot of you guys did not select Ivar. There was no love for Ivar. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, we had finally did, it was last week, we had did a deluxe show where not only did we go over the WrestleMania kickoff, but we also went over the winners for the 2023 Wrestling Awards. We also had revealed who won the raffle contest for a copy of WWE 2K24 for their respective platform. So if you had missed that, the webcast stream is available for on demand, and we got the audio version available wherever you get your podcasts. But Ivar was a name that I didn't see not one vote for that guy. Like nowhere. And that guy definitely, as far as most improved wrestler, he should have gotten the nod. This was a fun match between him and LA Knight on tonight's Raw. Enjoyed it a lot. LA Knight advancing. Nice offense by Ivar. I'm telling you, nice. So Knight, he now joins Orton and McIntyre at Elimination Chamber. We had one more qualifier tonight. It was for the men's side. We saw Bobby Lashley. He picked up a W over, oh God, who was that? Give me a second here. I'm trying to check my notes here. He got a win over Big Bronson Reed. Nice, fun match. Nice, big, beefy men just going at it there. It was about 8 minutes and change. Nice, short match, right? Not too long, not too, just about right and everything. Bobby Lashley going over. Pretty good. So Lashley moving on to the chamber. That was pretty solid. Nice opener of a tag match to kick off Monday Night Raw. We had Imperium versus New Day and main event Jey Uso. New Day and Jey Uso picking up the win. Some people may look at the amount of commercials that was taken during this match, but considering the fact that the match was a little bit over 20 minutes long, I'm honest. I honestly was fine for it. And obviously, we're continuing to build up momentum here for Jey Uso, and ultimately taking on Gunther for the IC title, potentially at WrestleMania and all that. So I'm all fine for that. Nice, good development there. We finally got ourselves a Andrade video package. Video package highlighted Andrade speaking in English, talking about how much he loves the business, talked about how the very first match that he had in the ring was at the age of 13, and how he's pretty much been a champion all over the world. And then ultimately, it led to him coming to the WWE, where he became a NXT champion. Then he became a US champion. But for him, those titles weren't enough. He wanted more. And he had to try to remember at the same time just who he was. And ultimately, he had to leave the WWE to find himself again. And once he was able to do that, he felt, okay, now is the time to come back. And not only is he back, but he feels that as far as the direction he needs to be going in, it's crystal clear now more than ever. So, if I were to speculate on that, I would say maybe as far as the future goes, Andrade's thinking, World Heavyweight Championship. So, yeah, I'm very curious how that picture looks. Would that involve him gunning after Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship? Or would that involve him maybe gunning after Cody Rhodes, assuming that Cody Rhodes pulls the impossible and becomes the new WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion? Only time will tell. We'll have to see how all of that plays out. Some other interesting stuff on Monday Night Raw. So look, if you watched what happened with the WrestleMania kickoff and all that, obviously you're looking at that and you're going, so Cody, why the change of heart? Why are you now going in this direction of, no, I want to be the one to take Roman Reigns to the dance, right? Like, I'm taking Roman to the prom. That is WrestleMania. Like, what happened here? Why the sudden, what's up, right? So, this Cody Rhodes promo, you were definitely anticipating, okay? You're happy that WWE went in this direction, assuming that this was always the intent. You always gotta, right? Don't put it past WWE. So Cody talks about how he'll now be challenging for the Universal Championship against Roman Reigns, and that the only reason he's able to say that is because of the fans. They pretty much let their voices be heard. And Cody thanks them for that and says that he doesn't know how he can repay them. But actually, yeah, maybe there is one way, which is basically getting the job done, right? Beating Roman Reigns and all that. Talks about how he's a passionate guy. He wears his heart on his sleeve, but he doesn't want to become emotional because otherwise he'd become a crybaby. He goes on to say that while they were saying we want Cody, there was one man who did not want to hear it. The most famous man alive, the people's champion, the man who coined the term Cody Crybabies. And then we saw the footage from the Pat McAfee show. And I love Cody looking on at Pat McAfee like, Pat, what the hell, man? Like, what's going on here? And Cody talking about he knows that promos are different to when Rock was last there, but he has to ask, what are we supposed to do with the Nuggets? And I got a nice chuckle out of the crowd. I know I pop like a mofo. Pat's looking on pretty shocked, and Cody's like, what are we supposed to do with those Nuggets again? And you've got Pat mumbling, you're supposed to shove them up your ass. I loved it. Good stuff and everything. Cody reasserts that he's a fan of The Rock, but that the one thing that The Rock does not do well is he does not listen. Cody didn't defile, as far as he was concerned, he did not defile Rock and Roman Reigns' ancestors, and yet Rock chose to slap him in the face in public. As far as Cody is concerned, Rock put his hands on him. He's going to put his hands on The Rock. So when you really stop and think about it, just reading in between all of that, I mean, that pretty much was the promo. You're going, okay, so Cody, we never did definitively hear from you why you changed your mind there, or, why it came off like you stepped to the side there as the Royal Rumble winner and let The Rock just come in there and, right? And I tell you the most simplistic way that could have been taken care of, right? I'll tell you the most simplistic way that could have been taken care of. Go back to that SmackDown where Cody talked to Roman Reigns face to face and he said, hey, I did seek counsel and, da-da-da-da-da-da. And remember what he said? He was like, I will have that championship, just not at WrestleMania. And then The Rock came out and everything. Right? Remember that? I'll tell you what could have been so simple. They could have had Cody in the middle of the ring tonight and say, hey, look, I know some of you guys are wondering, what's going on here. It kind of seemed like you stepped to the side and let The Rock come in and, what's up? And Cody could have just simply said, I'll be honest with you guys. There was a part of me that felt rattled by the idea of losing to Roman Reigns again. And I just did not want to disappoint, not just you, the fans. I didn't want to disappoint myself, my friends, my family. But somewhere in the skies above, I didn't want to disappoint my dad. And I think that would just be too much to bear to, right? You understand where I'm going with that? But then he could have said, but I had a second change of heart because you all's reactions on social media, my peers reaching out to me from all different promotions, dude, what are you doing? This is like a once in a lifetime situation. And right. And then he could have ultimately put it back on how he felt essentially disrespected by The Rock for taking advantage of him in a weakened state of mind. And right, I think anybody would, okay, this is believable. Yeah, sure. But we didn't get that. We didn't get none of that. So some of you guys may say, well, they've got a couple of weeks to plug in those gaps. The fact that they did not do it tonight, that tells me all I need to know. They're not going to even try. Anyway, Seth Rollins comes out there. Very curious, right? A lot of us were going, man, Seth Rollins, what a tough break for this guy. Like, what the hell, man, right? Seth Rollins comes out there. And we're wondering, okay, so what's going on here? Rollins gives him a lot of props, letting him know, hey, understand why you selected Roman Reigns. You got to finish the story and everything. Understand, respect that decision and all that. But, hey, look, not only is there millions of people that want you to finish this story, there's plenty of people in the back. I know I'm one of them that wants you to go and finish this story and everything. You need to finish it. You need to finish it not just for yourself. You don't need to do it for me, but you definitely need to do it for Dusty. You need to do it for everybody here in the WWE, because if you don't beat Roman Reigns, the landscape on the other side of Mania, it's dark right now, but it's going to become even very, very more dark. Roman Reigns already has enough power and leverage to the point that he shows up pretty much whenever he feels like. But Cody, if you don't get the job done at this year's WrestleMania, that power will grow even more, especially considering The Rock is now in the picture and everything, right? But Seth Rollins brings up a very interesting point that we definitely talked about here on the show. Some of you fans have openly talked about on social media, which is okay, what exactly is the plan going to be? Because we've seen so many opponents get taken down by Roman Reigns and that whole bloodline and everything. We saw what happened with Cody Rhodes last year. Seth Rollins bringing that up and saying, what exactly is the plan? Sure, you fought your way back. You won the Rumble again. But once again, much like last year, the deck is stacked against you. Only this time, besides the bloodline, you also now have to deal with one of the most influential men in the entertainment industry, one of the most decorated WWE superstars, and that is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Like, what is your game plan? So Seth Rollins pitches the idea that, hey, look, going into that match, you don't have to go into that battle alone, and that Seth Rollins will be his shield going into WrestleMania. So it's a nice freaking. I'm like, whoa, this is an interesting turn of events. Seth Rollins saying, look, when it comes to fighting the bloodline, really, there's only one man that is suited to be your shield, Cody. Like, you're looking right at him. Who better than the architect? Who better to, right? And you're looking at all of this, you're going, well, this sounds pretty damn good for Seth Rollins. But is it true sincerity that is coming from Seth Rollins here, or is there a ulterior motive for Rollins? You just can't help but ask that question. Are things really that kosher between Cody and Rollins? You can't help but ask that question. You really can't help but ask that, because I know that would piss so many of you guys off if Rollins were to put the screws to Cody at this year's WrestleMania. That would, I can just imagine you guys right now. Oh my God, that would just, but it is something that you guys have to consider. It is something that you guys have to consider. Do I think it's going to go in that direction? You could definitely, if you wanted to go there, you could, yet still have Cody win. But man, that would be one interesting twist, I would have to say. Liv Morgan picking up a win over Zoe Starks. This was a women's Elimination Chamber qualifier. Again, Liv Morgan picking up a win over Zoe Stark. No sizzle, no pop in this one, but hopefully Liv Morgan can get her mojo back. Because I'll give her credit. Before she went out on her injury and all of that, decent amount of the crowd was into her. JD McDonough picking up a win over R-Truth. Damian Priest and crew letting it be known, dude, for the last freaking time, you have nothing to do with the Judgment Day. Seems like this go round, it was getting through to R-Truth. Post-match, they beat the holy hell out of him. Damian Priest getting in some licks. DIYs, Gargano, Tommaso coming out for the rescue. Becky Lynch pretty much regurgitating what she had said at WrestleMania kickoff. Not a bad thing, but just reiterating it again, basically. How she has to go in to WrestleMania season. It's been 2 long years since she's had a women's championship, and she's got to go get the job done. Nia Jax came out there talking some hot trash. Then Rhea Ripley came out. Nia going at it back and forth while Becky was looking on and everything. I think that pretty much was it for Monday Night Raw. When it was all said and done, we literally just blazed through that really freaking quick here. As far as most positive from tonight's Monday Night Raw, even though it was a lengthy segment, just for a talking segment, I got to give mad props to the Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins segment, because a lot of us were wondering, well, what's going to happen here with Seth Rollins? Because, his road to WrestleMania, it isn't definitively clear. So what exactly is going to go down here. So I like the way that was essentially addressed. Um, Nice matchup between Sami Zayn and Nakamura. Besides that, the qualifiers wasn't really surprised over who all had won from their qualifying matches tonight. I like that whole wannabe babyface promo that Nia Jax was trying to cut there on Becky Lynch. I like that the crowd, like nobody at home was buying that crap. Seriously, nobody was buying that crap. You know, about an average episode of Monday Night Raw when it's all said and done. Average show. Just those are your main points of interest. So you got it on the DVR. You haven't watched yet. Definitely go out of your way. Check out those main points. Let's circle on back one more time. Hop on X. Let's see what you guys had to say about the show here. I cannot believe 123.4 million viewers for the Super Bowl. That's insane. I gotta clean my glasses too. Let me take these off for a little bit. So we're still at a tie for 8%, thumbs down, and then staying in the middle. And then meanwhile, 83% giving this week's Raw a thumbs up. Appreciate you guys that had cast your vote. By the way, for those of you that's tuning in live right now, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button. When you do that, you really help put more eyeballs on the content. You help get us out there to a more wider audience. You guys have been crushing it these past several weeks as far as hitting the like button and all that, and we've been picking up more views. We've been picking up more subs. I've been seeing people that have not interacted on our content before, interact on our content. I'm still trying to figure out who's who, and unfortunately, you've got some people that will just do a drive-by in our chats just to kind of basically, get their name and brand over and all that. So I don't acknowledge, but if it's a situation where I see that somebody's constantly going out of their way to, you guys know who you are, you regular guys. You guys know who you are. I don't even need to point you guys out. You guys already know who you are. I always go out of the way, make sure I show you guys a lot of love and everything. Some other stuff that we can get into here on the show. We're already at about the 1 hour, 12-minute mark. I think when it's all said and done, we'll probably go about 90 minutes, and then that'll be it. I can tell you this, as far as programming notes, I know that for the past almost 10 years, I have done the Slow Jamming with Lee special. I know last year we didn't put out a special. As far as this year's goes, I just don't know if I'm going to be doing it again. I just don't know, because we're in this day and age now where a lot of artists are very concerned about their music, where it's being streamed, even if it's a case where it's being made available on demand. It's a very delicate field. And the last thing that I want to do is get into some crosshairs with record labels and all that. It was such a headache a couple of years ago when our original Spotify feed that we had, it pretty much had got in trouble because of our slow jamming specials. Yeah, so it's kind of one of those, do I really want to do another slow jam? If I were to do another slow jamming, I think it would be a case where maybe I would make it available. Maybe I would make it available on SoundCloud, and people could just pretty much access it that way. Because I know I've done some projects. I've done some radio projects for my classes. And typically when I've done some radio projects, I've pretty much been able to upload them on SoundCloud, and doesn't really seem to be any issues over there. So maybe I would entertain doing something like that. But I think right now, as far as slow jamming goes, yeah, I don't think it's going to be happening. It could change, as far as, next year and the year after that. I could bring it back. But right now, it's kind of one of those, I'm just going to, be hands off of it and everything for the time being. So, FYI for you guys. See, as far as headlines go, not really too much has gone down since last I was on the air with you guys. Um, I don't know if we should get into the whole Ashley Massaro thing now, or if we should talk a little bit of what little wrestling headlines is out there right now. I mean, there's not really too much else that's out there. You know, it's kind of been relatively quiet since last I was on the air with you guys. But it seems like the big meat and potatoes of news really has to do with the whole Ashley Massaro situation. So we've got a newly released statement in regards to Ashley Massaro's accusations of predatory behavior from Vince McMahon. You know, we weren't on the air when all of this had went down. We pretty much were done for the week and everything. But you had this paper, this article that came out from Vice. And I want to give credit where credit is due. Looks like this article was written by Tim Marchman. So shout out to him. But he had covered, I mean, he just really did a superb job going down the rabbit hole and everything in regards to Ashley Massaro, as despite denials, WWE management knew that Ashley Massaro had been raped on a military base. And I want to read to you guys just key parts of this article. It looks like in a sworn affidavit her lawyer released in 2019 after her death, former wrestler Ashley Massaro said that she was injected with a paralyzing drug and raped by someone representing himself as a U.S. Army doctor while on tour with WWE in Kuwait going back to 2006. I'm going to read to you a little bit more of this, and I'll give you guys my reactions and everything. Massaro also said that top executives at the company, including McMahon and John Laurinaitis, told her not to talk about the incident and agreed to not talk about it themselves, in part to preserve the company's relationship with the military. And I quote, "He told me not to let one bad experience ruin the good work they were doing," Massaro said of McMahon in the affidavit. Vice News can report for the first time that the Naval Criminal Intelligence Service, NCIS, opened an investigation into Massaro's allegations in June 2019. That investigation was closed in January 2020, according to a NCIS spokesperson. Further information, they said, could not be immediately released as it would need to be obtained under the Freedom of Information Act. In the years since the affidavit was released, new information had come to light to corroborate some of Massaro's claims and cast doubt on WWE's subsequent denial, even before the statement from Laurinaitis' lawyer. Paul London, many of us know Paul London, former WWE wrestler. He dated Massaro for a bit when they both were with the company. He also has said that Massaro was herself a victim of Vince McMahon's sexual misconduct. Paul London has confirmed this. Allegations appear in a new light following the filing of a civil lawsuit accusing McMahon and Laurinaitis of raping a WWE employee, and McMahon covering it up by strong-arming her into signing a non-disclosure agreement. London saying, "I'm not surprised by any of it." Said this on the podcast last week. He compared WWE to NXVIM, the cult led by now convicted sex trafficker Keith Raniere. Just disgusting. Meanwhile, John Laurinaitis' lawyer, Edward Brennan, who is actually a divorce lawyer, but looking at everything that's currently happening involving John Laurinaitis and everything, it's safe to say that John Laurinaitis is probably gonna need a divorce lawyer because things are about to get real sticky and pretty ugly in a hot little bit. But John Laurinaitis' lawyer, Mr. Brennan, had this to say: any allegations that Mr. Laurinaitis helped to cover up an alleged rape allegation is an outright lie, in response to questions about Massaro's allegations. Johnny, like most upper level management, at some time became aware of the allegations and ensured all proper WWE protocols were followed, including privacy for the alleged victim. We object to the use of the term cover up, as no such plan or plot ever took place to hide or assist in the alleged rape. Now, a spokesperson for TKO, WWE's parent company, declined to comment, and a lawyer said to represent McMahon did not respond to requests for comment. Neither McMahon nor Laurinaitis is now associated with the WWE. Of course, McMahon resigning as chairman of TKO day after the sex trafficking lawsuit was filed and everything. So this is just, for many of us that remember the 2005 Diva Search, we remember Ashley Massaro from that competition. She was the one that went on to win it and everything. I remember when I was watching that respected Diva Search. I remember watching it with my first wife, my late ex-wife at that time. And when we first saw Ashley Massaro, we both felt, yeah, she's the one. She's going to win it. And I remember every chance that we had, we would vote for her and everything. And the Playboy stuff that came afterwards and all that, I remember all of that. Now, I want to refresh you guys' memory on something. Remember, back in 2016, Ashley Massaro had joined a lawsuit that was brought forth by a number of former wrestlers against McMahon and WWE. They were seeking damages related to the effects of brain injuries, which they said they suffered while they were wrestling. And that damn lawyer, that notorious lawyer, Kairos, that lawyer, every single time you got a lawsuit going on, Kairos, was it Constantine Kairos or whatever? Every time you turn around, that guy is always just right there. You want to sue, buddy boy? Buddy boy? Just always, every time you turn around. So it looks like, according to a filing in that suit, Massaro said that she had been sexually assaulted in Kuwait, and that Fernandad Rios, a WWE doctor, had reported the incident to WWE executives, who soon thereafter met with Massaro to apologize for their negligence, but persuaded her it would be best not to report it to appropriate authorities. In a filing the next month, WWE called the claim a stale and baseless allegation and denied Massaro had ever reported a sexual assault to anyone affiliated with WWE, saying she had been heard telling others that the doctor had done an inappropriate pelvic exam. As headlines at the time about Dr. Larry Nassar molesting hundreds of girls and women under the guise of medical treatment would have made clear, this can itself be a form of sexual assault. A judge ended up dismissing the case in 2018, after which plaintiff's lawyer Constantine Kairos, whom the judge has sanctioned in order to pay WWE's fees, filed the first in an ongoing series of appeals. Asked for comment, Kairos provided a link showing he has petitioned to the Supreme Court to hear an appeal. It was previously declined to do so, and noted that Massaro's affidavit was made under oath to a federal judge. Constantine Kairos, that guy owes WWE a couple of $100,000. I think he has yet to seal the deal and pretty much wrap that up and everything. So the matter sat until May 2019 when Massaro died. While authorities declined to publicly state the cause of death, it was reported, and her survivors have not disputed, that it was by suicide. Subsequently, Kairos published in full the sworn affidavit Massaro has signed in November of 2017, in which she detailed the allegations about her rape and WWE's response. So that affidavit, it describes the events crystal clear, saying that it took place in 2006 on a WWE tour. The year is incorrectly given as 2007 in the documents of U.S. military facilities in Afghanistan, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait, on which she and several others performed and staffers took part in. Apparently none could be reached for comment to Vice here. Ashley Massaro was suffering from dehydration, the statement says. She was taken to a military base and she was given an IV and left alone. A couple of hours later, a man representing himself as an army doctor and a woman in fatigues, she said, appeared and administered another IV, took her to another room. Massaro, according to a source with knowledge, was taken to Ali Al Salim Air Base in Kuwait, where the clinic would have been staffed by Navy rather than Army personnel. This would explain why NCIS handled the case, even though Massaro said the rapist purported to be a Army doctor. So Ashley Massaro, she goes on to say that the woman guarded the door while the man proceeded to inject me with a drug that caused me to be unable to move my body or to scream. The man then proceeded to violently rape and sodomize me. I was completely helpless to defend myself against this attack, as the drug he injected rendered me temporarily paralyzed. Despite being unable to control my movements, I remained fully conscious for every second of the attack. Jesus. Eventually, the statement says a WWE staffer began banging on the door. The man and woman covered her with a quilt and left the room, and the staffer carried her away and brought her back to her hotel room. The sequence of events given in the statement, including Massaro falling ill, going for medical attention, and then being brought back to the hotel, is broadly consistent with the one described in a 2006 blog post published on WWE's website by Jimmy Hart, who was one of the performers on the tour. God bless Jimmy Hart. Massaro, the statement says, was not in position to have a rape kit taken and did not report the incident to authorities. She told fellow performers about what had happened, but told them not to report it to anyone. After she returned to the U.S., though, Fernandad Rios, the WWE doctor, questioned her about the incident. She agreed to tell him what had happened as long as he didn't tell anyone else. Subsequently, though, the statement says the doctor informed McMahon, and she was summoned to a meeting with McMahon, John Laurinaitis, WWE production chief Kevin Dunn. Kind of interesting that we got Dunn in there. And other men she didn't recognize but believed to be company executives or lawyers. Kind of interesting there, as Dunn had recently left, right? Pretty much safe to say he knew what was maybe about to surface there and all that. Who knows there? Dunn, who left WWE last month after more than 40 years of serving as one of McMahon's loyal right-hand men, could not be reached for comment. Spokesperson for TKO did not provide contact information for a representative for Dunn when asked. Vince, the statement reads, led the meeting with these men and asked me to recount what happened in Kuwait. Then he said it was not in the best interest of the WWE for me to make the information about my attack public. I was still completely traumatized at that point, and I just agreed. It was clear that there had already been a conversation and that they had reached a decision on their own prior to consulting with me, as this was not a debate, but rather Vince instructing me to keep this confidential. Vince did at least apologize for what I went through, but then stressed that if I disclosed this incident, it would ruin the relationship between the WWE and the U.S. military. He told me not to let one bad experience ruin the good work they were doing. A statement issued after the publication of that affidavit, WWE denied these claims, saying at no time was Vince McMahon or the management of WWE ever informed by Ashley Massaro or anybody else that she had been sexually assaulted, drugged, raped, or sodomized by a military doctor with a nursing standing guard while on a goodwill tour in 2007 to U.S. military bases in Kuwait, read the statement. At no time was there ever a meeting with Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn, John Laurinaitis, or other company executives in which she told them such a claim and was instructed to keep it quiet. According to what Laurinaitis says, which is corroborated by an interview given last fall by Rios, the doctor, that statement was not true. A TKO spokesperson declined to comment on whether WWE stands by its denial. So, I'm gonna, there's a lot more to this, obviously, but that is the main gist. I would highly encourage you guys to go out of your way and read that article by Vice. But on top of that, something else that I want to highlight to you guys that maybe you were sleeping on this, but if you guys remember, there was a podcast about Ashley Massaro, her allegations against WWE. There was a podcast that was hosted by a journalist named Isabel Thompson for Audible. And she just, dissected the whole thing. They dissected the whole thing big time. It came out some years back. I would say it came out maybe a year ago. You can access it for like I think $8 or whatever, and they provided a lot of insight into this. So long before Vice even understand the original breadcrumbs where it all was planted and everything. For those of you that want to even more context and everything, but for John Laurinaitis to well, wait a minute here. Right, because John Laurinaitis, he's pretty much saying that, yeah, no, there was no cover-up going on whatsoever. Again, Johnny, like most upper-level management, at some time became aware of the allegations and ensured all proper WWE protocols were followed, including privacy for the alleged victim. We object to use the term cover-up, as no such plan or plot ever took place to hide or assist the alleged rape. I mean, this is just, I like how John Laurinaitis is now just pretty much going, no, I'm not going to fall on that sword. I've done some really, really shady up shit, but that's just one thing that, no. That wasn't on my watch. No, that was all Vince McMahon. That was, I like how this is all going down. This is just one big bad thing after another that is, and we're not even fully done with the first quarter of 2024 yet. We still got another month to go. We still got March to go before we're officially like, okay, that's it for the respective quarter. So this is just one black eye after the other, and it's so unfortunate. As a wrestling fan, as someone that knows what it's like to lose a loved one at a very early age, all I can think about right now is the Massaro family, and for them to have to relive just the pain, the trauma. I know that they have been trying to do their best to move on since Ashley Massaro, her untimely passing. And let's not forget, Ashley left a kid behind. We got so many people that's talking about this and everything. Like, everybody's going on and 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 on about it and everything. But let's not forget, she leaves a kid behind. And, you would have thought that, okay, if ever, just that extra incentive, that motivation to, let me just make sure that the kid is going to be okay, right? No matter what, at least the kid will be all right. That tells you about the sad, fragile state of mind, that she was in leading up to the time of her death, and just all the trauma, everything that had happened on her and everything. But you think about the kid that she left behind. You think about the brother of hers that died a couple of years ago. He had reached a deep state of depression after his sister died. Definitely, I mean, he was already having issues prior, but it really intensified, picking up the drinking and all that, and then just the horrific way that he passed, right? This family has been through a lot. They have been trying to do their best to put their best foot forward one day at a time and everything. And now we've got these old wounds being opened up again and everything. My heart is with them right now. And at the same time, I'm hoping that for this to surface the way that it has, I do believe that everything happens for a reason. I've honestly been a firm believer in that. I don't believe in coincidences. I've always been a firm believer that, certain things, happens for a reason. And I think this is happening for a respected reason. And this family is definitely going to be tested. Make no mistake about it. This family is definitely going to be tested. And it's going to be a difficult journey. But if that family is able to stay in it for that long haul, I think they'll be able to get through this without a shadow of doubt. I think they'll be able to get through this. They'll be able to persevere. I hope that with all of this information that is now coming to light, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, what we had talked about a couple of weeks ago. This is just the tipping of the iceberg, and this is early 2024. We're just getting started with all of this. There's loads more. There's loads more stories that's going to be coming out, and all of that. The worst is I feel yet to come, believe it or not. And I want to take this time out. I want to let you guys know that apparently our live stream had interrupted, sadly, while our stream had got interrupted, sadly. Hang on here. I'm going to put this on. I'm going to edit this, and I am going to hide this one. Yeah, our stream sadly got interrupted, man. I don't know what's going on with the internet, but I tell you what, I'm definitely going to get in contact with Xfinity, let them know what's up, and see if they can, have somebody come out here and nip this in the bud once and for all, because this is getting freaking ridiculous. I got to say to you guys, this is getting ridiculous. I tell you what, when I was with Verizon, when I have Verizon Fios, worst case scenario, when it rained, sometimes I would have internet issues, sometimes. But most times, I was fine. Like, out of 100%, I would say 98% of the time, I was fine. It's so weird because I can have the issues that I'm having, and TV wise, I'm still okay, just like all that. But like, for some weird reason, yeah, this stuff right here, I don't get it. I don't get it. But just breaks my heart, hearing about all that. It numbs me. It sickens me to the stomach to hear that Vince McMahon and WWE, it's like, the hell with the military. If somebody had did this, it's like, Vince, would you say this if this was one of your kids? Would you say this if it was Stephanie that got raped in Kuwait? Would you say this if it was one of your granddaughters? Heaven forbid. Would you say this? Would you have this same mindset? And, oh, well, we can't say anything. We got to continue to maintain the good relationship between WWE and the military. Would you? Or would you say, I don't care what the hell happens. I've got the money. I've got the resources. I've got the lawyers. We're going to bring these mother lovers down. Like let's freaking go. It's just, it sickens me to hear that this is how they conducted themselves with this woman. And yet at the same time, I'm not really surprised because, you hear about all the despicable things that freaking Vince McMahon has asked of women on the roster to do. And let's not forget that there were multiple times where Vince McMahon, even after what had went down in Kuwait with Ashley, he would try to have her ride the company jet or whatever with them and a couple of other executives. She didn't want to do it, and she was forced to do it. And it was basically a case where, like, hey, if you don't do this, this is going to look very badly. You're going to be frowned upon, and, right? Basically threatening a person's livelihood and employment, right? I think it was Ashley Massaro that was wearing a cast at one point. And I can't remember where I heard this, but apparently Vince didn't like the fact that she was in a cast and they had the cast removed. And if she didn't remove the cast, basically she was going to be fired right there on the spot. Like just some of the most craziest what stuff that I've heard about Vince McMahon, and this is just his day of reckoning. It's finally coming. It's just sad that it's taken this damn long. It really is. I don't see how anybody. I remember when we were on the air initially, when all the rumors was running around there on Ashley Massaro and whatever had happened in Kuwait or whatever, and that was almost kind of. At the time, we couldn't really put two and two together. We couldn't really put two and two together at the time, but now there's a whole lot of stuff that's just really starting to make sense here, But we're just getting started. This is only the tip of the iceberg. I know myself and a couple of other heads in the podcasting world, we've put our heads together going, yeah, this, there's a lot more to come. There is a lot more to come. I've spoken off air to a couple of friends that's in the know-it-all and all that. And again, this is just the tipping of the iceberg. The worst is yet to come. Of course, you hear all of this and you go, man, why would TKO, like TKO knew they were messing with, they knew there was some baggage with Vince McMahon. But I don't even think they knew that to the extent of where it is now. Like the amount of, like they knew there were some dead bodies buried, but they didn't know it was this damn bad. You feel me? I'm sure that now though they are like, just good that we are just done with this dude. We can just move on and all of that. I'd like to keep going, but you know what? It really threw me off when the stream got interrupted live. So I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to stick a fork in it. We're going to call this episode DONE, done. But like I said, that's it for this week. We're not doing a Wednesday show. I'm actually going to take Valentine's Day off, spend that quality time with the missus. Your next edition, I may do something on the weekend. Who knows? Who knows? Because I'm actually off this weekend. So I may do something Saturday night. Who knows? Maybe I'll poll you guys and I'll ask, if you all want me to do a weekend edition. We'll see what happens. But I'm definitely taking Valentine's Day off. If I don't end up doing a weekend edition show, regardless whether it happens or not, I know for sure Monday night, February 19th, 2024, after Raw goes off the air, that'll be your next edition of the RCWR show. Meanwhile, hey, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the RCWR show. Can't stress it enough. Really, really, really represent. Check out the show on demand and on the download, especially if you love checking out the audio version. I see a lot of you guys are either using the show app for Android to check out the show. That's great. Make sure you're representing and leaving those ratings and reviews for the show. Apple, Spotify really helps out a ton. Like the content on YouTube, subscribe to it, but share. The more likes that those videos get on YouTube, the more eyeballs that gets put on the content, which thus puts us out there in front of a more wider audience. So do that. Many, many thanks. Shout out to our sponsors as well. Appreciate them. I've had a few new sponsors try to reach out to me, but hasn't been the right fit. So I'm holding out there. I'm holding out. Apologies in advance too, because I'm now kind of seeing it. I'll make sure that I don't do this again. But apologies for my face being a little bit extra juicy looking. I basically have a beard balm on that I like to put on at the end of the night as I'm trying to unwind and everything. And I don't usually like putting it on during the day. I usually like putting it on at nighttime, a couple of hours before I go to bed. So I apologize if my face is looking a little bit extra juicy tonight. It normally doesn't look that juicy. All right. Get at your man on X, Facebook, YouTube. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And until next go round, my pretty babies, I'm wishing all of you all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go round. Adios, y'all, and take care.